We make thousands of selections over the course of writing a manuscript, but pushing that little insertion point around takes time, and those moments can add up, especially if we waste time doing it inefficiently. So in this video, I want to show you a few mouse selection tricks to help you write and edit faster. So why mouse selections of all things? Well, it's one piece, one component of our workflow. Once we learn how to do a task, we often fall into a rut of doing it mindlessly, kind of good enough. And that's great for things like mopping the floor, things that need to get done, but you don't have to put a lot of thought into it. You might say, you just select stuff and delete it, whatever you want to do. I don't get the point. What's the big deal? Yeah, but there are faster ways to do it in a lot of cases, and that's what I'm going to show you. Now, before I get started, this video may seem a little on the basic side initially, but I promise you I learned a few things preparing for it, and I suspect and I'm confident that you will probably learn a few tidbits also. So stick around to the end and see what you learn. In fact, post in the comments something you hadn't seen before. So I'll start with an obvious one that I think most everybody knows, but just for completeness, let me quickly say it. Let's suppose I want to select one word here, Komodo. I can simply double-click the word and it selects the entire word. That's pretty easy. That's definitely easier than trying to drag your cursor over one measly word. So here's an example of a typical way of selecting with a mouse. Let's suppose I want to get this particular sentence here. And notice here I ended up getting extra period. I don't want that, so I'm going to reselect there. Now, that works, but there are faster ways to select a sentence. Well, it's pretty simple. You simply hold down Control and click anywhere in the sentence, and Word automatically adjusts the beginning and the end to select the entire sentence, including an extra space after the punctuation mark. No dragging around, getting too much in the beginning, going too far in the end, having to adjust, just a quick, clean selection. Now, another mouse shortcut. Now, it's not a selection, but it's directly related to what we just covered with selecting a sentence. That is, you hold down Control+Alt and you click anywhere in the sentence and the cursor will jump to the beginning of that sentence. No selection, but it positions the cursor right there. Now, one of my favorites with a mouse, one that I use all the time, is to click in the left margin to select a line. Now, of course, it's not selecting a sentence, it's selecting all the words on that line, irrespective of periods or whatever. Now, you can also drag in the margin to select multiple lines, any lines you want. Of course, irrespective of sentence endings or anything like that, it selects the entire line as far as you drag. And you could triple click inside a paragraph to select the entire paragraph. Now, I'm not a big fan of triple clicking. I tend to sometimes double click and my mouse slips over and I single click. And so I get a little awkward with it. I would rather find a different way to select a paragraph. But if you like that, it's there. Finally, I can double click in the left margin anywhere near a paragraph to select the entire paragraph. And in line with that, I can triple click anywhere in the left margin to select the entire document. Kind of nice. I especially like the first one, so I think I'm going to start using that one actually. Now, another one I really like when I need it is to select from the cursor position. For example, let's just say I'm in the middle of this word here, and I want to select from there down to the end of a paragraph toward the bottom of the page. I can simply hold down Shift and click, and it will select everything from that word down to where I click. Now, you might notice it auto-selected the entire initial word, Komodo, and that's probably because I have the option set on to include or expand to fill the word. Let me show you. It's File, Options. We'll click the Advanced tab here on the left, and then here it says, when selecting, automatically select the entire word. I find that a mixed blessing, but that's why it selected the entire word. I'll close that out. Now, it will also select backwards from your cursor position. So my cursor position is at Komodo. If I click on a previous page, say here, it then reverses the selection from my original cursor position to where I clicked on the previous page. So it goes either way. So I can also add selections to existing ones using the Control key. I can drag. I can double click a word. Now, it doesn't play well with Control click a sentence because I'm using Control to do the multi-selection. But I can select other things. They do not have to be contiguous. And then I can press Control C, delete whatever I wish. So it's pretty nice little bonus when you need it. Now, another one that's pretty useful when you need it. Now, I didn't see the utility of this as much. And in fact, I kind of struggled with why was it even there? But then I found the use for it, and I'm going to show that to you. So first, let me explain to you what it is. It's a box selection. I can hold down Alt, and over here, anywhere I drag my box, it will select all the words in that region. For example, if I hit Control+C, come over here to the end of the page and press Control+V, it will literally copy and paste those specific words that I had in that box. You might say, well, I don't see how I'm going to use that. Let me show you. I'm going to undo that paste. Now, on the right side of the page over here, I have a description inside of a timeline. Now, let's suppose for whatever reason, I want to leave my times there, but I want to delete the descriptions for each section. Rather than doing a multi-select, I can quickly just hold down the Alt key and drag and select just the descriptions and then press delete, and they're gone. That's pretty neat. Nice little, I guess, specific use, but it is neat that I can do that. Now, undo that for a moment so I can show you something else. One thing is pretty common, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again for completeness. What do you do with a selection once you've made it? Well, often delete it, cut it. One thing you can also do is drag it. Now, for example, if I want to move these descriptions down and not lose them, I can simply drag them down and it will copy it down. Now, and with a general sentence, let's suppose I'm over here and I have a sentence selected. I can drag that sentence and it will actually move it. Now, why Word copied in one case and moved in the other, I'm not 100% sure, but that is how Word does it. Now, I've been talking about keyboards in a couple videos on how they can make you faster, learning keyboard shortcuts and macros. And you might say, which is it, Peter, mouse or keyboard? It's actually both, of course. It depends on your use, just like there are different tools. And these are different tools to use while you're writing and editing. So generally speaking, a mouse is going to be better when you're doing random edits, and a keyboard is going to be better while you're doing local edits. It's kind of like asking which is better, bacon or eggs for breakfast. And I actually think bacon probably wins a lot of the times, but I can't imagine having too many breakfasts without eggs. I love bacon and eggs together. But the line between which is better is definitely a little fuzzy, especially when you mix that in with personal preferences. But don't pick just good enough if your goal is to optimize your productivity during your writing sessions. So I'm definitely pro keyboard. Don't worry about that. Go keyboard, but a little tongue-in-cheek, of course. But I do use the keyboard a lot, but there is definitely a place for the mouse. And today, we're letting the mouse be king. Used in the right places, making faster, more accurate selections will nudge your productivity up. Then you combine that with some keyboard shortcuts and some macros tied to other keyboard shortcuts, and pretty soon you're going to see a noticeable improvement in your writing efficiency. Even if you don't boost your speed, which you probably will, you'll reduce some of the tedium with common everyday editing tasks. After a task becomes habitual, like using the mouse, then that gets ingrained in our brain, like I said at the beginning. So you kind of have to train yourself to use these new methods so that they will become second nature, just like using the mouse the old way is second nature. And finally, if you've got any shortcuts of your own, any little productivity tips for Microsoft Word while writing and editing, I'd love to hear them in the comments. If I have time, I'll try to interact with you and respond. And I kind of enjoy this stuff, so I'd love to hear what you have to say.